Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Jamison family. Hey guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay guys, I have to say it. Y'all know I have to say it. My sister got me 2 Super Bowl shirts. I've not got them yet, but I have to. So I have the AFC Championship Chiefs are all in shirt on. Go Chiefs! How about them Chiefs? So excited, you guys. I'm so excited. Okay. Sorry. So like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It's free. Again, if you're, excuse me, a legitimate psychic, I would love to have you on my channel. If you're a fake psychic that's just looking to steal people's content, you probably need to get off YouTube while you're still ahead. So how about that? I hate to have to say that shit, you guys. I hate it. Okay, so everything in this is my opinion. It's my opinion, okay? Don't sue me. I don't have any money. I'm not rich. I'm a broke psychic, okay? I don't make much money off of it. How about that? Okay, you guys, sorry. I'm a little wound up. It's been a rough few days. So, it's been a great few days, but it's been a rough few days, too. So, okay, let's get started. October 8th, 2009, the Jamison family of Eufaula, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Oklahoma, mysteriously disappeared. Bobby Jamison was born on August 4th of 1965. He was 44 years old at the time of his disappearance. Sherilyn Jamison was born on November 5th, 1968, and she was 40 at the time. Madison Jamison was born on August 1st, 2003, and she was 6 years old, you guys. The initial investigation into the Jamison family's disappearance indicated that they had probably not vanished on their own accord. The family's pickup truck was found abandoned in Latimer County, Oklahoma, a short distance south of Quinta. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. A few days after their disappearance. The Jamison bodies were not found, but their malnourished dog, Macy, was still in the truck. That poor dog. Also, the family's IDs, wallets, a mobile phone, a GPS system, and you ready for this? $32,000 were found in the truck, y'all. 32,000. That's with a T. 1,000. Can you? It's a lot of freaking money. The Jamisons were not known to carry large amounts of cash, so the plot thickened. Footage from the family's home surveillance system, time-stamped the day they left their house, showed the couple making several silent trips between their vehicle and home as they methodically packed to leave. In the footage, the couple's movements were described as, quote, trans-like. Again, the plot thickens. The video also shows Sherilyn. She placed a brown briefcase in the vehicle. Former Sheriff Beauchamp remarked that he believed the briefcase could be an important clue. Both the briefcase and Sherilyn's handgun have never been recovered. Okay, some other interesting facts about the case, y'all. Both Bobby and Sherilyn were unemployed and on disability and were known to be living beyond their means. $32,000, y'all. Bobby had been in a car accident in 2003 and he suffered from chronic pain. Sherilyn suffered with depression ever since her sister died in a freak bee sting accident. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and struggled with taking her medication. Bobby and Sherilyn were considering purchasing a 40-acre plot of land in the Red Oak area of Latimer County. They wanted to move to the San Boys, is that B-O-I-S, Boys, San Boys Mountains, and live in metal shipping containers. They were planning on visiting the property, but they didn't want the real estate agent to attend the showing. Due to the fact that the family's truck was found in the area, it's believed that the Jamisons made it safely to the area. Also, an 11-page letter to Bobby from Sherilyn was found in the truck. Sherilyn told Bobby he wasn't taking care of his family and she wanted a divorce. The skeletal remains of 2 adults and a poor little precious 6-year-old child were discovered by 2 hunters in a remote spot of Latimer County in November of 2013, more than 4 years after the family went missing, and less than 3 miles away from where the family's pickup truck had been abandoned. The remains were widely presumed to be those of the missing family. though the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office had to use anthropological and forensic pathological testing to identify them. Say that 3 times fast, y'all. Officials confirmed on July the 3rd of 2014 that the remains, in fact, belonged to the Jamisons. Cause of death was not determined due to the heavily decomposed state of the bodies. There are several theories about what happened to the Jamison family, such as they faked their own deaths, were in the witness protection program, were murdered, or they died by group pew, right? They unalived themselves. Shortly before their disappearance, Bobby Jamison was involved in a bitter lawsuit with his dad, Bob Gene Jamison, claiming that he threatened the family and had struck him with his vehicle in November of 2008. Bobby also alleged that his father was involved in meth and criminal activity. Police do not believe that Bob Gene Jamison was involved in the family's disappearance. Another popular theory was that the Jamisons themselves were drug dealers. Investigators cited the large amount of cash found in their truck and the apparent strange behavior exhibited by Bobby and Sherilyn shortly before they went missing. The Jamisons had reportedly told their local pastor, Gary Brandon, on separate occasions that they had seen spirits inside their home and that Bobby had allegedly claimed to have been reading the Satanic Bible. Okay, so I was able to connect with Sherilyn. Tried to connect with Bobby, tried to connect with Madison, could not, but I was able to connect with Sherilyn. I explained who I was, and I just wanted to ask her some things surrounding her disappearance and the end. And she said that she had in fact been very, very depressed. Ever since her sister died, she's now reunited with her sister and happy, which is a good thing. But she said she'd been very depressed, and she said her husband was on painkillers. And she said, unfortunately, she didn't think he was taking them as prescribed, that she thought he was taking too much. And she was quite frankly just getting sick and tired of his behavior. She said, they were struggling just to pay bills and to get by. And she just kind of felt that was really selfish on his part, that he was, all consumed with the medication he was taking. And she said, he constantly complained he was in pain. And she said, I think that's, why she saw a change in him and why she thought he was abusing it. She said that they had gotten in a little too deep with a specific group of people. I asked her if she wanted to talk about that, and she gave me a little bit of information that I would be willing to pass on to the family, but it's not anything that needs to be here on the World Wide Web. Okay? How about that? So she went on to tell me that about, she didn't know, she thought it was around 9 months to a year prior to everything happening. Bobby had went to run an errand and came home, and he had taken like a long time, and she wondered what was taking so long, right? He came home and she said, he came home and he said, you're not going to believe this, but I ran into this guy that I know from years ago. And he had this great idea of how we could make some money. And we could make this money and we could, buy a piece of property and do what we've talked about wanting to do. So he explained what it was, and she immediately said, no, absolutely not. No. We have a child. We're a family unit. No, not doing it. Okay. So he went on to try to coax her into doing it and being okay with it. He said, look, I'm not going to have any DRUGSs ever on me. It's not about that. I'm just literally going to go and be a go-between two groups of people, and I'm going to hand off some money. I'll never have the DRUGSs. That's not part of what I'm going to be doing. Sherilyn said she thought about it, and she said, I need some time. Bobby, this is ridiculous. I just need some time to think about this. She said she asked him over like the period of 2 weeks, little things here and there. She asked him questions about it, and he would get a hold of his buddy, and then he would answer her questions. She finally said, okay, as long as it doesn't require us being around DRUGSs or those kind of people and they don't come to our home, I'm okay with it. She said that while she was mulling it over, to make a decision, she said, she didn't want to lose Bobby. She didn't want to lose her family. They had been struggling. Apparently their marriage had been struggling for a couple of years. It was progressively getting worse. She said this was about the time that she started wondering if maybe he was taking too much of his medication, because his personality was changing and he just didn't have any motivation. He just didn't want to do anything. It wasn't like he had been in the past. So she thought about it. She thought, well, if we could make money to where we could in fact, buy a piece of property and build a place on it, I'd be willing to do that, I think. So she said, she agreed. As long as no DRUGSs and none of these people came to their house, she was okay with it. So Bobby went to meet up with his friend and came back home and said, yeah, I just have to go to this place tomorrow and pass over this. He had a container with money. Okay. So the next morning, Bobby left. He wasn't gone for very long. He came back. Okay. He proceeded to say that 4 guys with pew-pews showed up and surrounded him. And he said, it was a bit intimidating, but they just said, give us the package. He handed them the package. They got in their vehicles and they left. So he said, wow, that was simple. That's no big deal type of thing. Yeah. So Sherilyn said that Bobby went on to do this several times. And she said she was like, okay, this is simple. This is easy. They had amassed a nice little nest egg, and they had she told Bobby, he said, I just have one last time. And she said, okay, I'm telling you this now. One more time, we take the money and we're going to go buy a place and this will be done. And he's like, definitely. Okay, no problem. Okay. Sherilyn had found a piece of property. Her and Bobby had looked at everything online and thought, wow, that would be the perfect piece of property. Let's go check it out. So they apparently scheduled to meet at this property, and they asked the real estate agent, can you just not come and, let us check it out on our own, and then we'll be in touch with you. Okay. So the one last meetup was the biggest of them all. They were going to have the largest amount of money. Sherilyn said, I honestly don't even know the exact amount of money, and I didn't want to know. I didn't want to be a part of that. So Bobby had the idea that, hey, since we're going to go out there and check the property out anyway, why don't we just all 3 go and do it and get it over with? It'll be simple. And immediately Sherilyn's heart sank, and she's like, oh my God, I can't put, our daughter in that mess, and I don't want to be a part of that. And he calmed her down and said, look, it's simple. You'll see, it's simple. It's no big deal. He said, we'll park in a strategic location, and then we'll let them know where we're at, and then they can come there, and then bam, we're done. Okay. So apparently Bobby had told his, quote, friend, his connection, okay, I'm going to meet them at this location. And the friend said, okay, once you get to that location, just, send the text, let them know, and then they'll be right there, and then it's all done. Okay. Sherilyn was stressing really bad about it. The next morning comes, the day they're supposed to do this and look at the property. She immediately tells Bobby, I can't handle this. I'm like hyperventilating. We just need to call this off. We can't do this. We can't put our daughter in jeopardy. We can't do this. And he assured her, he said, look, if you're stressing this much over it, we'll take your pew pew with us, and we'll be fine. Nothing's going to happen to us. Nothing's going to happen to our daughter. Famous last words. So they were loading up the car because they were going to go there. Okay. She said their goal was to go out there, check the property out. And she said they even were halfway thinking about maybe camping out on the property. You know, they, I guess, had gotten permission. And she said, so that was kind of up in the air. We weren't for sure if we were going to do that or not, you know. But tentatively, we thought that's what we wanted to do. So she was stressing, and he said, look, I have a pill. You take one and I'll take one. We'll be fine, and it'll calm your nerves. It's really mild. It's no big deal. And she was like, okay. You guys, this case, man, I'm sorry, but Sherilyn said that she just couldn't help but have this horrible feeling. She said the second she woke up that morning, she just had a horrible feeling. A couple of times she said to Bobby, maybe we should just cancel this. Let's just not even do this. Just give the money back. Let's just be done. We don't need any more money. We're good. Let's just be done. And he convinced her that take this medication. I'll take one. We'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So she remembers getting to the property. So they get to the property, and she said they drove in pretty far because, you know, they wanted to check it out. And they thought, okay, if we're going to camp out, let's really check it out if we decide we want to do that. So they drive in and they park the truck. They get out of the truck. They go walking a little bit. She said they were, you know, they were trying to calm down. They were checking out nature. Their daughter was like running around, and, you know, everything seemed okay. And she said he had texted, once they had pulled in, he had texted whoever he was supposed to text and said, this is where we want to meet. So I guess their plan was to park the truck and meet quite a few miles in so that they weren't, you know, these guys didn't see the truck, didn't know the truck, you know, that type of thing. She said they got out, their daughter was running around. I think she said they took a couple of pictures, and they continued to walk further and further. They get almost to where they're supposed to be, and she said out of nowhere, two guys jumped out in the front of them, and then two guys from the side. One of the guys grabbed her husband. One of them grabbed her. One grabbed their child. Yeah. She remembers her husband being shot. And then she remembers her daughter screaming, and then she said, I just blacked out. She said, I woke up, and this is where I've been ever since. And yeah. So she asked me if their dog was okay. I said, yes, your dog was okay. Your dog was malnourished, and I'm sure in a bad way from being locked in the truck for a couple of days, but the dog was okay. She asked if there was still money in the truck, and I said, yes, money was found in the truck, and I told her $32,000. Well, no, I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her that because at the time I didn't freaking know how much. She had said that they had amassed a nice little nest egg, so I didn't say the amount. So she assumed that her husband died from the pew-pew, and that her and her daughter must have been, yeah. She said they're all there. They're in a better place. And she said she's around her sister, you know, there's many other family members. And she said, you know, she regrets it for sure. You know, she would have liked to have lived the rest of her life out. But she said, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm assuming that, so let me back up. So when I did, once I connected and then I did the research, is when I found out that, $32,000 and the pew pew. Well, she had told me about the pew pew, but anyway, I'm assuming that the money that they were supposed to hand off was probably in that briefcase that's missing. Okay. The pew pew that's missing, honestly, no one's ever going to be arrested for this, which really sucks. Like I said, she told me the group of people that they had gotten caught up in this. Apparently the guy, the friend of Bobby's, he was a member of this, quote, group, also known as a cult. So she did tell me the name of the group. And she said, they knew going into it that it's not just something that you can call them up and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. So she knew that there was that need there, that they pretty much had to go through with it, even though she didn't want to, and she had a bad feeling. She said she was just torn up that morning. Like her stomach was torn up. She just knew, like she could feel it, And that's the thing, people, when you get that feeling in your gut, listen to it. It's most likely one of your spirit guides, saying, yo, moron, don't do this. This isn't a good idea, right? Especially women. We have that natural intuition, but we also have spirit guides, and we have guardian angels, that try to help guide us. So when you feel that way, like, listen to it. Please listen to it. It means something, okay? So yeah, another sad case, like 2 people and a little child that didn't need to. It's just so sad, you guys. Ugh. I hope everybody's having a great week. Meet me here 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Friday Night Live. We'll chit chat about cases and just life and have a good old time. So be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy, and that about does it for me. Bye, guys.